Om Shanti. Today Baba tells us that when we listen to Baba's Murli, we should always listen to Baba's Murli with the awareness that Shiv Baba is teaching me. I shouldn't look at the instrument. I shouldn't look at the name and form of the person who is reading the Murli. But I should hold in my awareness that this is Shiv Baba's knowledge, that Shiv Baba is speaking to me. And this is a very important point. Baba has mentioned many reasons because of which this is important, but this is really very important because you see, first thing, if you remember some days back, maybe 2-3 days back, there was a slogan in the Murli that make your thinking, speaking and behaving the same. So thought, word and act should be the same. Now what does that mean? So you see, sometimes you may be doing something which is very elevated, but you may not be your thought may not be in alignment with it, or your attitude may not be in alignment with it. For example, you are listening to Baba's Murli, but if you are not sitting in awareness that this is Baba's Murli, then the power of the Murli will not be received accurately by you. So this is a very important law. So this alignment between thought, word and act is very important. Let me give you some examples which will make this clear. For example, you are doing very good seva. You are you are cleaning Baba's house, or you're cooking bhog for Baba. So that's very big seva, right? But then you're doing it in very ordinary awareness that this is the work I have to do today. Or you're just thinking that, nobody else is doing, only I am doing it. And you're doing it in have-to consciousness that I have to do it. Then what happens is, even such elevated seva, it's not going to give you happiness. And if your thought, word and act are aligned, if you are doing something and you are also in the awareness that I'm doing such big seva and this is going to impact the state of the world, I'm creating heaven. So, you may be doing something very ordinary in a physical context. For example, I'm giving this class, but I don't think I'm conducting a class. I think I'm creating heaven. Or I am, let's say, suppose there's an architect and he is creating a palace. Now what is he actually doing? He is making the palace out of bricks and this and that. So if he thought that I'm laying bricks today, or I'm cementing today, or I am, just doing putting some clay on something today. But instead of that, what does he think? He thinks, I'm creating a palace. Now that palace is not created as a palace. It is created, bit by bit. But then in that bit by bit, the awareness is I'm creating a palace. So Baba says you have to understand that the awareness in which you are doing things is as important as the act. So the thought counts, the word counts, and the act also counts. And when they are not in alignment, then um, the power of the action, or the power of the, when they are in alignment, the power is multifold. And when they are not in alignment, then the power is very less. So Baba says, you are listening to Shiv Baba's Murli, and Shiv Baba's Murli is, the word of God. And these are jewels. And if it really entered your intellect, one jewel also, it is going to, change the way you see things, the way you do things. And Baba's Murli is transformative. But when you don't listen to it in that awareness, then it means nothing. And Baba says that is why when you are listening to the Murli, always have this very conscious awareness that this is Shiv Baba's Murli that I am listening, and listen in the remembrance of Baba. And I will share one incident from my past life. So when I was in the university at that time, there was a guest faculty who was called from a very reputed university, and he was supposed to give a guest lecture in the university. And we had no idea how great he is. So we just thought, somebody is coming from somewhere and is going to speak something which is, which is like any rubbish we hear every day. And we were all sitting like we were not interested. And that lecture, it was not recorded. It was not, no notes were kept. And we just treated that lecture as very ordinary. But later, when we realized that this person had come from such a big place and he is such a renowned fellow, and then we should have listened to him, we had a lot of regret. And then we each one asked the other, have you taken notes, or is there something that you remember? And nobody remembered anything, because it was not announced well. So nobody drilled this into our buddhi that you have to listen carefully. So we were in very ordinary consciousness, talking and chatting and while listening to the lecture. So Baba says that, sometimes you may have an episode of fortune where you have something very extraordinary at your disposal, but then you are in very ordinary consciousness. And let that not be for Baba, because in every 5,000 years, only once Baba comes. And you see, here in this class, we take some topics from the Murli and we understand in detail. But every child should listen to the Murli or read the Murli very, with lot of attention on their own. And it's very important, because until and unless Baba says, Baba is not like a human who speaks on a topic. Baba is the ocean. And, when you talk about the ocean, so an ocean has waves, and, those waves are very continuous, and every wave is different. So Baba's Murli is also like that. Baba will speak about one thing, and then about another thing, and then about the third thing. And then sometimes, you can't even take the full, you can't feel everything that Baba says, because he's like an ocean. He speaks about so many things all at once. And it's very important that you listen to the Murli, because we take 1 point or 2 points or 3 points and we understand in detail. So it is the children's job to take up points from the Murli and speak on a topic. But it is not Baba's job to speak on a topic. Baba doesn't speak on a topic. Baba is the ocean. Baba just, Baba talks about everything under the sun. So that is why it's very important that we listen to the Murli and listen to the Murli with that awareness that Shiv Baba is speaking this Murli to me. Because sometimes, when you are not listening to the Murli in that awareness, then you are seeing the instrument soul who is reading the Murli. So maybe you have your own biases that, this person is reading it well and that person is not reading it well. But then what do you have to do with the person who is reading it? It's Baba's Murli. Let me tell you one thing in this. So there was this one lady, and she was of foreign origin, and then she became a BK, and then she started doing seva. And then once she was reading Baba's Murli, and she was reading the Murli in Hindi. She had learned Hindi. She had made that effort to learn Hindi, and she was reading the Murli in India in Hindi. And then there were some students in the class who said, we can't understand the Murli because a foreigner sister is reading it. So then, I told that person that she's reading the Murli in Hindi and she's reading it very well. So it is your internal bias that is not making you appreciate that, because you have a bias that, any foreigner cannot read good Hindi. But if you just, brush that bias, then you will be able to understand Baba's Murli very well through any instrument that reads the Murli. And then that person to whom I said that, they worked on themselves and they said, yes, you're right. I felt that because I was biased, I couldn't understand the Murli. And sometimes, people have this bias that this sister is very young, or there are other times also, when people have a bias that this is a woman and not a man. So I remember there was this one time, one brother came to the center and he said, "Yahan koi aadmi nahi hai kya? There is no man in this center." So I said, "No, not right now." And then he said, "I had to talk to somebody." So I said, "I'm here if you want to." So he said, "No, but I want to talk to a man. I don't talk to women." So I said, "That's okay, but you don't have a man right now to talk, na? So why waste your time? You can just try talking to me." So just try. You can talk to women also. It is the same way you talk to men. So you just have to use your words and speak what's in your heart, and then I will try to help you. I don't guarantee. Maybe you're right. Some man can help you better, but I'll try. And then he tried, and then he talked, and then next day he only asked for a sister. He didn't ask for a brother the next day. So you see, sometimes people are so biased, and Baba says that even Baba's children are very biased. Sometimes they will listen to let's suppose tomorrow a younger sister conducts the class, then you will have the bias that the elder sister should conduct the class, not the younger one, because we don't get it right from the younger one. But no, it's Baba's knowledge, Baba's Gyan. So let me have respect for every instrument, and let me just keep in my awareness that this is Baba's knowledge, and listen to the Murli, because all these biases, they become the door for Maya. And if you don't remove these biases, don't keep in your awareness that it is Shiv Baba's Murli, then maybe you have an episode when for 6 months there is somebody else conducting the class for you. And then maybe I'm on seva or something, and then what happens, if you don't deal with this bias of yours, then you might lose interest in the class. And that's not because of the gyan that's being given, or there's actually something different, but because there's a bias inside you. And if you hold in your awareness that this is Shiv Baba's Murli, and whoever is the instrument, I have to listen to it with that regard, then your connection with Baba will stay intact. And then you will be able to, take what Baba is giving you. Otherwise, your own bias will become the door for Maya, and you will lose interest in Baba. You will lose interest in the Murli. And that is the biggest misfortune. If you found Baba and then lost Baba, or lost interest in Baba, that is, or lost interest in Baba's teachings, that is a very big misfortune. And that misfortune comes because we are very body conscious and biased most of the time. Yes, and I remember there was this one sister in the center. She was very young, and then there was one old couple. They used to come to the center, and when she started reading the Murli one day, then this old couple, they made a very bad face, and then they said to the sister, "You will read the Murli today." And then that sister said, "Who do you want? Who do you want here then?" Then he said, "We thought, Didi will read the Murli." Then that sister was very smart. She said, "I also want Didi to read the Murli, but unfortunately, Didi is not available today, so I will read the Murli and you listen to the Murli." And then she was in, because all Baba's children are very authoritative, and then she really conducted the class very well. And then the couple, they were very sorry, and then they said that we were very sorry that we misbehaved with the sister, and they came and told me also that we would like to apologize. So you see that these are the kind of biases that people have. And Baba says this bias can become the door to Maya. So do not leave any door open for Maya. Because what does Maya want? Maya doesn't want you to meditate. Maya doesn't want you to listen to the Murli. Maya doesn't want you to practice purity. Maya wants you to be in the old world, do what you have always done. But you want to defeat Maya, so don't leave these kinds of doors open. And Baba is constantly, in the Murli, cautioning us against the many forms in which Maya can come. Yes, just like, in the Ramayana, you read that so when Sri Ram left Sita, he left her with Lakshman. And when Lakshman also left, he drew a line. He said, "Don't cross this." Because, God was very interested that my Sita, my child, shouldn't get, shouldn't be driven away or taken away by Maya. But then, if we still do not follow what Baba says, if we still don't take care of the line that Baba draws for us, these are the lines, these are the, warnings or cautionings that Baba gives us. And if we still don't take care of it, then what happens is Ravan takes away, or Maya takes us away. And this is why Baba says, don't go into these biases. So whoever is reading the Murli, it's Baba's Murli. Let me listen to Baba's Murli with that love and attention, and Baba will speak to me. And then second thing Baba says is, do you write a chart of remembrance? Yes. So how many of you write a chart of remembrance? Not many. And why don't you do that? So many times Baba speaks in the Murli that you should write a chart of remembrance. And why? Because if you don't write a chart of remembrance, then you will never be able to check how much of remembrance you have. You look at anything, talk about your, if you don't keep a chart of how much calories you burn every day, or, how much food you eat every day, or how much you spend in a day, if you don't keep a chart of it, you will never become aware of whether it is less or more. Keeping a chart is the only way to change. in every aspect of life, whether it is physical, financial, relationships, even with relationships, whether if you have made some rules for yourself that, I want to spend time with this person or that person, and I want to nourish them with my company for this much time every day, then you have to maintain a chart and do it consistently. Otherwise, that relationship also withers. And if you don't take time, if you don't plan for something, you will never find time for it. So Baba says that sometimes, when children write the chart, they ask a question which comes up many times on the WhatsApp. They keep asking this question, but today Baba has answered that. So children ask that when we are listening to Murli, can that be counted as remembrance of Baba? Yes, so when we keep the chart of remembrance, what counts as remembrance and what doesn't count as remembrance? So today Baba has clarified this, that when you're listening to the Murli, you may be in remembrance of Baba, you may not be. So if your mind is wandering around, then you are not in remembrance, and that will not be counted as remembrance, although you're listening to the Murli. But if your mind and intellect are wandering around, then that will not be counted as remembrance. But if you're really sitting in remembrance of Baba while listening to the Murli, that is, your mind and intellect are with Baba. You're seeing Baba's image, you're feeling Baba's love and listening to the Murli, then that will also be counted as remembrance in your chart. So just think about it. If you're spending 40 minutes, 45 minutes, half an hour, whatever, in listening to the Murli, and you are able to pay attention that I'm in Baba's remembrance, then in one time you have made two incomes. One is you filled yourself with knowledge, and second is you have also filled yourself with the power of remembrance. So this is something very beautiful that Baba talks about. Then Baba today says that children should learn the language or the words if they don't understand. So there are many children of Baba who don't know how to read and write. And Baba says, in order that, you are not dependent on anybody to speak the Murli to you also. Maybe, in the future, there would be a time when you will not have access to the Murli, online, offline, any which way. Nobody can read it out to you. So you must be in a position to read the Murli yourself. And Baba says, if you don't know how to read and write, learn how to read and write. And I will tell you one thing. There was this one brother, he worked as a house help in one of the, houses nearby. And he was illiterate. He had never been to school. And then he came to the center, and he took Baba's knowledge, and he started having love for Baba. And then many days later, one day he was sitting in Baba's room, and he was reading the Murli. So he had the Murli in his hands, and he was doing something. And then I asked him, you told me you don't know the letters and you are illiterate, and then how are you reading the Murli? So he said, I can't read anything else, but I can read the Murli. So I said, how do you know that? So he said, I have practiced this, that when I listen to the Murli, I take the print and I keep looking at the words. And then now I know this word is that. So it is very amazing that he could read the Murli, whereas he didn't know any alphabet in Hindi. He didn't know, but he could read the Murli. And this is an example that I have practically seen in front of my eyes. So this is also, and this is not a magic. This is Baba's, Baba's support that you get when you show the courage to do what Baba asks you to do. And second thing, even though, if somebody, even some of you, if you don't know how to read the Hindi Murli or understand the Hindi Murli, and you think that you can only read and understand in English, try learning Hindi also. It's very important because, although Murli is translated in all languages, but a lot of essence is lost in translation. And if you really look at it, if you are not, so a lot of essence is lost in translation. And although, you may think that I'm listening to the Murli and that is enough, but when you read the Hindi Murli and you understand it, you will know that there is a lot of things which you don't get when you read the English Murli. A lot of, Baba's expressions and bhav, especially the emotion behind it, you don't understand in English. So it is very important. And I will tell you one incident. There was this one lady, and she was from Odisha, and she was in a very pivotal position in the government. And when she came into Gyan, she was not very well versed with Hindi, but she could make out that she loved listening to the Hindi Murli more than in English, and it spoke to her more. Then what she did was, she started taking both the prints, and she used to compare the words, and she made her own dictionary of, which word corresponds to which. And then she started learning the Hindi Murli like that, and then she started enjoying the Murli. So if you really learn the language, it is, you will learn another language also, and then Baba will speak better to you. And Baba's Murli is spoken in Hindi, and the essence, some of the essence is lost in translation. I'll give you an example of today's Murli also. You see, in today's Murli, there is the slogan, "Become free from all situations and you will experience the support of God the Father." Now in Hindi, it is not that. It is said, in Hindi, the slogan is, "सर्व बातों में न्यारे बनो तो परमात्मा प्यार के सहारे का अनुभव होगा." Now you see, support is not love. It is translated as support. But Baba is talking that you will experience the love of Baba. And second thing is, Baba is not talking about becoming free from situations. Baba is talking about becoming detached from, matters of the world. So sometimes, the translation is not very accurate. And then let me also point out, you see, there are many words which are not even open to translation. For example, the word punya, it doesn't have a corresponding English word. Do you know that? There is no word in English, because languages are a reflection of culture. So, religion, spirituality, culture, if a certain country doesn't have a certain, concept in a religion or their spiritual practice or in their, in their culture, then they don't have a word for it. So in English, there is no corresponding word for punya, and we translate it as charity in Hindi, but that's not punya. And there is no word at all for punya. So this is why it is very important that you make the effort to listen to the Hindi Murli every day. The Hindi Murli is given on, I read the Hindi Murli every day. So just try to listen to it, and slowly, gradually, that Murli will start speaking to you. And when you make that effort, you will feel Baba more than you feel him now. So, although we conduct an English class and everything, but it is recommended that you learn the Hindi language also. At least try, because it's something that will give you an edge above what you are at now. So, this is also something. And then Baba also talks about today, Baba Shrimat, that you must keep women or mothers as in front. So Baba says, although this whole yagya or the seva of Baba is not operated only by sisters, brothers are the backbone of this seva. So even in the center, Sakit center that you're connected with, this center wouldn't run without the support of Santosh Bhai. But then you see me every day. Why do you see me? Because that's Baba Shrimat. Baba Shrimat is that, the face should be sisters, or the ones giving knowledge should be sisters. But brothers are, this is also a Shrimat that brothers follow, that they keep sisters in the forefront. And this is done very consciously, because we are creating a world where Lakshmi and Narayan will sit on the same seat. So right now the world is in a very unequal state. So Baba has given this direction to children so that they can bring about that format of Satyug right now, when brothers will take a back seat and keep sisters in front. Although sisters also know that all the work is being done in the back seat. And it is the background, the backbone that matters. And we have a lot of respect for every brother that is the backbone of the seva. But still, they do this. They have this humility to follow Baba Shrimat and keep sisters in the forefront. So this is also Baba's direction today. And then Baba today says that Baba also talks about one more thing, which is, yes, Baba talks about not being greedy. So Baba says, check for divine virtues, check for knowledge, check for yoga, and check for divine virtues. Now, how do you check for knowledge? How do you know whether you have knowledge or not? So see your actions. Are they knowledgeful? Yes, don't see whether you can speak knowledge. Speaking knowledge is very easy. But look at your actions. Are they knowledgeful? Are you using your time, thought, energy, resources knowledgefully? Are you using them according to Baba Shrimat? That is checking for knowledge. Checking for yoga is not checking for how many hours you sit in yoga, but checking for how much time you were actually in Baba's remembrance. So make a chart of, how much time you sat in Baba's remembrance and how much time you were actually in Baba's remembrance during that time. And then Baba says, check for divine virtues also. And divine virtues is not, I don't know why the most important virtue has become sweetness. So every virtue is important, Just being sweet is necessary, but it's not enough. So, just people think that the only divine virtue is talking sweetly. But that's not the only divine virtue. There are so many virtues, whether you're disciplined is a big virtue, whether you wake up in time, whether you sleep in time, whether you have discipline of food. Yes, do you have discipline of food? Do you eat what you're supposed to eat, or does the food dictate how much and when you will eat? Yes, so if there is something cooked that you like, then do you eat more than you eat usually? So all these are signs of greed. And then Baba says, check for all the virtues, check for introversion. Do you talk only when necessary, or you talk unnecessarily? That is also a very big virtue, because many people, they don't speak only when required, and when you speak unnecessarily, your words don't have power, and they are not able to inspire anybody. And that's why, when somebody speaks a lot and they're always whining and complaining and shouting, then other people say that, don't listen to them, just ignore. So you must understand that everything is a virtue, and you must check for all virtues. And today Baba is especially talking about whether your eating is disciplined, and how many thoughts do you spend on eating. So, sometimes there are some people who are just living to eat. And right from the time they get up, their only thought is, what do we cook today? What do we eat today? Then before they finish one meal, the second meal is on their mind. What do we cook for the second meal? And especially in India, this is a very big problem. So Baba says that, check for this, because no activity of the body should take more time than it is supposed to take, should take more thoughts than it is supposed to take. Okay, Om Shanti.